Hey guys, in this video I'm going to be talking about why Old English sounds very Danish-like, or in a weird form of English-like. Well, part of that is because the fact that English, Old English, or English in general, comes from a people. Well, I mean, not all of it, but a good portion of it comes from a people called the Angles, okay? And the Angles come from a place called England, which is in southern Denmark and northern Germany. In fact, we've been told time and time again from Bede, the vulnerable Bede, that it was the Angles, it was the Saxons, and it was the Jutes. But yeah, that's what Bede says. But I personally, I would include the Frisians, but that's for a different reason, and a video I will make after this anyway. And the Angles, I guess, now this is just my speculating right now. I think they probably made up, of all the dramatic tribes that were there, I think the Angles were the most prominent, because, well, King Alfred, I mean, he called the language English, and I think that was a political move. I don't want to piss off, you know, all these Angles when in fact, you know, there's only so many Saxons around, and that's another thing too. I mean, okay, well, I just said there was this speculation. I mean, you can correct me if you like. Go ahead. I mean, I'm a linguist, not a historian. Anyway, even though I like history, the thing is, the problem with a lot of historians, in comparison to linguists, actually, is that with linguists we're very specific about certain things, and details matter. Historians too, but sometimes with a lot of historians, especially of this period, they tend to lump all of them together, all these tribes, and just call them Saxons. And when in fact each tribe that came to England, you know, they're different. I mean, yeah, they're all Germanic, but like they have their own differences and whatnot. Yeah, and a lot of people don't realize that it's the Angles. The Angles, not, I mean, the Saxons, yeah, they're part of it. I mean, but they're not. That's not the whole story. It's like a lot of it is the Angles. All right. I mean, why do Scottish people sound the way they do? You know, because their pronunciations and whatnot and their words. I mean, yeah, well, yes, there is a Scandinavian influence. Yes, there's some Celtic influence, but apart from that, it comes from the Angles. You know, like the Scots comes from the Northumbrian dialect of Old English, and the Northumbrian dialect of Old English is an Anglian dialect coming from the Angles. Same with Mercian, from the Angles. It's you know, that's why yeah, place names in England, East Anglia, you know, and further about the words of angle. I mean, I'm saying angle this, angle that. Also, well, the Angles, I mean, they came from a place called England, which is in southern Denmark, northern Germany. All right, and I have a map here, which I actually have a few maps to show you. Okay, hang on, let me just grab my camera here, and let me show you. So what we have here. This is a map from Beowulf. I mean, this is the best map I've found regarding this period. Well, a map that somewhat the best I can find that shows where the Angles, where I think they were, where they were. All right, well, where most people think where they were. All right. So anyway, we got the Swedes up there, we got the Geats, we got the Wolfings, and we have the Danes, Utes, and Frisians, and the Angles are right down there. Well, right between Angles and Frisians. What should have been below Angles should be Saxons. But anyway, sorry. Oh, hang on. Anyway, see so they're in that little part of land down there, and the reason, in that part of land, well, it comes with the name because the place itself looks like a fish hook, and that hence the English word an angler, a fisherman. You know, with the fish. Yeah. Anyway, so we're moving on. So we're gonna go to the map. So we're gonna look at another map. So this is England. All right. This is Angel, and this is, you can see the hook down there, sort of coming like. like that. I don't know if you can see it that well. There we go. See, there's the hook on the right. There we go. So this is Anglin. Okay. Yeah, this is some, you know, and this is where the Angles supposedly came from. But according to Bede, all the Angles came to England. But whether that actually happened, whether all of them did, is a good question. Some of them could have stayed in the continent, get absorbed in the Danish kingdoms. Who knows? But there is a dialect. I mean, whether this comes from the Angles themselves that have stayed, I don't know. Maybe. Because the thing is, after all, they all left to England, well, according to Bede, that who replaced them were the Danes. Alright? And hence, we have a dialect here called Angeldansk, or Angelbomal. And I think this is an extinct dialect that was around the 1800s or something like that. Give you an example of what it looks like. So we have Danish there, and then we have Angeldansk. Alright, looks a bit like Old English, doesn't it? You know, the ash and the cam and all that. Yeah, really cool stuff. Yeah, this dialect isn't around anymore, but there is a grammar book I found on the internet, on Google Books. You can find it for free. It's called Om det danska sprog I Angel. And it's by E. Hagerup. I can't pronounce Danish, but anyway. Well, I can't put it. Anyway, I tried. So yeah, I mean, whether this this dialect is of the Angles themselves, you know, raises some questions. I mean, who knows? You know, it might, but you know, but the thing is, I can't read Danish. I mean, well, I don't know how to read Danish yet, and so if any of you know Danish, you know, you pick this up, and you know, maybe tell me in the comments below what this all means and whatnot, and maybe we can get closer to maybe of what the Angles would have spoken if they stayed in England. Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? All right. Further, I just want to say regarding the Angles that the Angles themselves, given where they were, you know, where they were in the continent. I mean, the Angles are like a Scandinavian West Germanic people, if you will, ethnically speaking. Some may debate that, but the thing is, there is definitely a Scandinavian influence, and well, the reason I say half and half, because thing is, the Angles are really the missing link, or the bridge, if you will, between the Scandinavian peoples, and linguistically and whatnot, and the West Germanic peoples, like going to the Frisians and the Saxons, and the Angles are really the smack in between that. That's something to really bear in mind, and yeah, so they're the missing link, if you will, between North Germanic and West Germanic. All right, a classic example of an Anglian feature, if you will, that makes it, well, that leans towards the idea that because the Angles are a missing link, linguistically speaking, is that words that we know today as I am, the am part, or saying you are, or in early modern English, thou art, the art part, or saying we or they are. That these sorts of words, these are very Scandinavian-like, because if you look at other Scandinavian languages, that's how they conjugate their verb to be, with that realm, if you will. In other Germanic languages, the way they do it is like it's like they would use I don't know, ich bin, you know, it's I be, if you will, if I were to use that cognate, or it's du bist, you know, that bist, or but then in Old English you also have we Beowulf, so like we be, if you will, and then you also have sind as well. So that's a very like West Germanic thing, if you will. So yeah, and another thing to point out that this ich eom or ik eam, we aron or we erun, these words, these forms of verbs to be, the are, if you will, these were before the Viking invasions. So that's how we know that this is Angle. Anyway, another idea I would like to share regarding continental angle, if you will, is that some speculate that it may have survived through some of the words in in North Frisian, which is off the coast of Denmark and the North Frisian islands and whatnot. Maybe. We don't know. Alright? Because the thing is, there is no text from the continent of continental angle. I mean, the closest thing we have to angle, it really is the Anglian dialects of Old English. That's the closest we can get to the angles. I mean, the way to figure that out, if you were to take the what's common between Mercian and Northumbrian dialects, what's common between them, and then you can make a good guess of what was continental angle. All right? I mean, yeah. I mean, it would be nice to know what these people have spoken. But we don't have any direct texts at this point in time. Who knows? I mean, there could be some manuscript that could have been written down that hasn't been found yet. You see, that's the beauty of like life, really. Like every year, there's always some new manuscript that has been found, regarding this period and whatnot, which is nice. Like I think, it's only until, like Hilbert said, history with Hilbert. The past is much more closer than you think, and yeah, it's much closer indeed. Anyway, thank you for watching. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't. And oh my god, we have 9 minutes left. I gotta switch the battery soon for my next video. Anyway, yeah, thank you for watching. Please subscribe and make videos whenever I can. And I also upload every Saturday. That's the program. Thank you for watching. And if you want to help this channel out, on a financial level, please join me on Patreon, where you can pledge X amount of dollars, and you can get to see what I'm working on, and you can comment and see stuff before it comes out and stuff and whatnot. So it's kind of exclusive like that. So yeah. Anyway, thanks for watching. Bye bye.